Hello, welcome back to Move365. We're going to look at a lunge movement pattern today. This is the pattern of movement that you're going to need when you are bending really low to the ground and your squat pattern won't quite cut it. Hips have a range of movement that won't allow most of us to squat all the way to the ground. So it's easier on us physically to split the step and to lunge down. So what do I mean by a lunge? I mean that I'm going to have one leg in front of the other and I'm going to bend at the hip and at the knee into a position that looks a little bit like that. And then I'm going to drive back up out of the front hip to come up to standing once again. Key points are that I really want to keep my knee over the top of my ankle joint. And the way that I like to show people to just who are learning this movement is to step back, because it tends, I think, to help people maintain that knee over ankle position whilst bending at the hip. Your back leg really is just there for balance. The load should all be through your front leg. So back goes the balancing leg, quite a long way back in my case. You can have something, and it's sensible if your balance is a little bit questionable, have something solid that you can hold on to for some support. That's absolutely fine. Try and maintain that nice neutral position, that nice hollow shape in your lower back, hollow shape in the back of your neck, a position that if we were to take a stick, put it up our back, that we would maintain that neutral position all the way through our movement. So, stepping back, support if you need it, hinging into the hip and then back up. I'm going to show you on this side. Back I go, and I'm putting the work into this hip. When I come back out of that position, I'm driving up from the back of that hip, trying to extend and straighten. Of course, I'm putting work also into my quadriceps group of muscles. The hamstrings will be doing some work, but primarily it's this hip extensor, the glutes, the glute max, that's doing the work. Shouldn't be much weight on the opposite leg. I can take that all the way back and back up with minimal load on this leg. So if you're feeling pain on the left knee or in the left leg, you're doing too much work with that side. This is an important movement pattern if you're going to put socks on, tie your shoes up in a spine sparing way, in a way that isn't going to stress your lower back. The thing that I see happening all the time is that people will, usually after I've given them some advice on how to avoid hurting their back, they'll come and put their shoes back on and they'll sit down and they'll get into this position, which of course completely removes that neutral spine position and puts a lot of stress and load on the soft tissues, the discs and the ligaments and the joint capsules in their lower back, and can very often be pain provocative. So putting your shoes and socks on in this position, not great. You want to use that lunge position, and it's okay to use it in an elevated position. So if I'm trying to put socks on, it's absolutely fine for me to put my foot up on a chair or on a bed and hinge forwards in my hip and my knee. Very similar sort of position to that lunge pattern that I just showed you, and work the sock onto my foot that way. I can hook my foot into my shoe and I can put it up onto a chair or a step. And again, same little sort of lunging forward position, put my foot into the shoe, tie the shoe up, and my back, although it's not perfect, it's in a much more neutral position in this position than it would be in this position. I hope you can see that. So, have a little practice with that lunge. Find something solid to hold on to if you need to. Step a little bit forwards and then take the back leg further back as you sink into the hip, almost sit down into the hip. And if you can go all the way to the floor with the opposite knee, then happy days, but you don't have to. And then keep the spine neutral, look up, look at the horizon, and drive up. Think about driving up towards the ceiling when you come out of that position. You can think about a string coming out the top of your head, and your spine is being held up as you lower yourself down and as you drive back up. Comment down below. Give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, please. Remember, life's better when you're moving.